Hello, I'm Mary Lohman, and this is Mondays with Mary. Tim Keller has said that the way a person changes is by changing what they worship. Now, as Christ followers, our first reaction is, well, we worship the Lord. We go to church and sing worship songs and praise God, and it's true, we do have those wonderful times of corporate worship. But true worship isn't about how well you can sing or whether you can play a guitar or any other instrument. Singing and praising God is just one of the many ways we worship God. Someone has said that worship is our response to whatever we value most in our lives. So our worship is reserved for the object or objects or person or people that hold the most value in our lives. It's the things or the person that occupy our thoughts and receive our most time and attention. I think Keller was referring to heart worship. And the truth is that everyone worships something. You don't have to be religious or spiritual to worship. So it's not a question of whether we worship or not. Rather, the real question is, what or who do we worship? I have to admit that even as a devoted Christ follower, there are days, more like moments, I think, when I worship the wrong thing. And usually that's me. I worship me. I value most what I want at a given moment in time. Thankfully, that self-worship doesn't last too long. I've walked long enough with the Lord to recognize those wandering times. Makes me think of an old hymn that I love that says, "Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it, prone to leave the God I love." I sing that verse often because I am prone to wander. That verse goes on to say, "Here's my heart, oh, take and seal it for thy courts above." Well, do you have that same tendency, that prone to wander tendency? It's the human condition, and it's one of the enemy's favorite weapons against us. But the prayer of that hymn is to ask God to seal our hearts, seal them tight so nothing can get in, so that nothing can climb up on the altar of our heart and start to steal our worship, to change what or who we worship. It can happen so suddenly, you just don't see it coming. Our hearts, our worship focus can change quickly. So here's what I think. We have to become aware of what we're worshiping every day, every moment, and just catch ourselves before that worship gains any foothold in our life. If it's true that the way a person changes is by changing what they worship, as Keller has said, I think it is. Then the more we check up on ourselves and make sure that the seal on our heart is really tight, then the less vulnerable we are to that prone to wander tendency. The more we keep our minds, our lives focused on what really matters, bringing honor and glory to Jesus Christ, the more we don't wander. So I invite you to join me in this quest to make sure Jesus and Him alone is first in our heart, the one and only one we worship. And then pray regularly, like daily, that God will keep the seal on our heart airtight, and nothing or no one will ever matter to us as much as Jesus. Have a wonderful day.